Unanimous decision over Daniel Zellhuber last weekend, UFC Vegas 60. Did you get a chance to rewatch the fight?
A few times, yep.
All right. Now, so I got to pick your brain about that. What were your thoughts on the performance after seeing it with your own eyes?
I thought it went good. I was a little surprised at the way the fight went. Thought we were going to grapple. That was my plan, but I can't be disappointed with the way the fight went. But yeah, I thought the fight went good, man. It is what it is. Not exactly my game plan, but it worked out well. I felt like I dominated and controlled the whole fight.
What did your coaches say?
Very happy. James Cross was very happy with the fight. Everyone's very happy with it.
Was there anything that you didn't like about how you performed?
Not necessarily. I would have preferred to get the takedowns because it's what I trained to do. But no, I don't think that I was disappointed with anything in hindsight.
Is that something that now you look at, okay, the takedowns, I got to just go back in the lab and focus on the little details?
Not necessarily, because I felt like my wrestling got a lot better in this camp. My wrestling is better than it's ever been. But I do think that I could have taken him down had I wanted to force the issue. But when I realized that I would have to force the issue, I didn't want to overextend myself to do so because I was winning the striking. So we have a great saying. I've said it in every interview, but we have a great saying in MMA. If you're winning, stay winning. So if something's working, don't stop doing it. So, I decided I was going to strike until he gave me a real reason not to. I was constantly looking for the takedown opportunities. I got to his hips several times. Very good. He defended. When I got to the hips, I felt like it would take more energy to finish the takedown than just to come up and hit him off the break. So, it is what it is.
Do you feel like that threat of the takedown, you didn't complete the takedown, but the threat of that really got into his head for the rest of the fight?
I think it definitely slowed down his aggression. In general, I take people down when they get a little over aggressive and when they overextend, and he never really did. So I do think that, the threat of a good takedown does slow down strikers.
Now, you mentioned earlier that your game plan was to take him down and submit him. When you realized that might not happen, when did you, alter your game plan and go to plan B, so to say?
I don't know that it's weird. I don't know that I necessarily made like a conscious decision where I was like, okay, I'm not going to try to take him down. I just was letting the fight flow, and I'm okay with wherever a fight goes. I've been doing this a long time. I've got a lot of options from a lot of places. So, I wasn't uncomfortable striking with him. So it wasn't something that I really wasn't even keeping track of time in the fight. I was just fighting. I was fighting the fight that was in front of me, and it went how it went.
Were there any moments, rewatching the fight where you're like, damn, there was the spot right there that I could have finished the fight?
Not necessarily. When I got him to the fence in the second round and I took his back, it was pretty easy. I just didn't have any time on the clock. So in hindsight, if I was going to make one adjustment, then maybe I would try to force getting him to the fence earlier in rounds. But like I said, I felt like when we exchanged in the striking, I was winning 90 to 95% of the exchanges. So I didn't really feel like I needed to take him down. And
Yeah, for sure. And, he's a long guy, long legs, long arms. The distance, when did you feel like you were feeling the distance and it was working to your benefit?
About minute 2 in the fight. Yeah, pretty quick. After we actually exchanged a few times, I countered him really well. There's reach and then there's length of movement, and he has a longer reach than me, but my length of movement is longer than him. So I actually feel like I'm a longer fighter than him.
On the broadcast, before the fight started, they were talking about the odds, and I didn't even know the odds until I was watching the fight. It was like minus something in his favor. You were the underdog, and I tweeted out right away. It's like, yo, these people don't know what they're watching. They don't know about Trey Ogden. Did you know the odds like heading into the fight?
Yeah, I knew that I knew before the fight that I was the biggest underdog on the card. But these are narratives, and I know better. Narratives sell fights. But tactics, technique, and endurance win fights. I don't listen to the general public when it comes to what they think is going to happen in a fight. I watch the opponent. I know myself. I know my strengths. I had done quite a bit of tape study on Zellhuber, and I was confident in what I was doing. So what they say is what they say, but no one can go in there and fight for him. So
Yeah, for sure. And your team, James, I believe a few other fighters, they're into the betting. They're into the all of that stuff, breaking down fights. They must have made a lot of money off you. I'm just gonna say that right
I've
now.
had a lot of people reach out and send me their little screenshots of their bets and how much money they made. And I think that's awesome, man. If you bet on me, hell yeah, I'm glad you made money. You deserve it.
For sure. Taking someone's shiny undefeated record, is there a deep down satisfaction to that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he'll never forget me. I'm the one that changed him from some undefeated, which undefeated is the narrative as well. Again, and like he can't ever have that back. And also, it's just good credentials for me to finish somebody that's on a. I don't know what his amateur record was, but he was on a minimum of a 12-fight win streak when he fought me, and to beat that is great for me. I love it.
Yeah, and also a part of the narrative was that you lost your debut by split decision. Was that in your head, ahead of the fight?
Not really. I had made peace with that before this fight. The Jordan Levitt fight just is what it is. It was an awkward fight. I was on 2 weeks' notice. I was coming off a knee injury. Whatever, it wasn't an exciting fight. I don't feel like I lost the fight. I don't feel like Jordan Levitt did a single effective offensive thing to me. So, I kind of chopped that up for what it was. The lesson I took from that fight is I need to be in better shape to compete at that level so that I can fight to my true abilities. If I was in the shape that I was in when I fought Daniel Zellhuber, when I fought Jordan Levitt, I would have walked through Levitt like he was an amateur. So it is what it is. I took the lesson, I made the adjustments, and it paid off.
Beautiful, man. And now Daniel, he will go through what you went through coming back from a debut loss. What advice could you impart on him or anyone in that position?
The main thing I could tell him, as a young kid who probably puts a lot of stock into what other people think, is fuck the Instagram haters. Don't listen to them. These people are losers. If they're talking shit to you on Instagram when you're doing great things in your life, you're a champion in your life, you're doing beautiful things in your life, and these people aren't doing shit. So don't listen to them. Block them all, and take the lessons. Be objective. Don't make excuses. You know what I mean, and make the adjustments. But a couple of people brought to my attention that they looked on his Instagram page and that he was getting quite a bit of hate on posting on his comments, which that's how it is. But my advice to him as a young man, not just necessarily a young fighter, is to put into account what type of person it must take to talk shit to an elite level fighter on Instagram, and to put that out of your mind and stay focused on your craft.
Yeah, you're completely right, because like I'll write something on like Twitter about last time Nate Diaz. I wrote something about him, and then these guys will go on my Instagram and comment about what I said on Twitter. It's like, you're that big of a loser. Like, you're gonna go from one social media outlet to another.
You click on their Instagram account, and they have 46 followers, 2 posts, and they're a private account. You can't even follow them. It's like you're on your mom's basement Wi-Fi. Yeah, I ain't got time for you. So I almost reached out to Daniel. I almost reached out to him and sent him a DM when I heard, and I did go to his Instagram and see that people were doing that. I almost reached out to him. I was like, man, you fuck these people. You're doing great things in life. Don't listen to them.
Yeah. The training camp, man. I know ahead of the fight, if you're doing interviews, you're not gonna expose everything, right? Was the training camp good? Were there any obstacles, any illnesses ahead of the fight?
No, it was good. It was long. I did a 16-week training camp. I pushed myself as hard as I could. It's the hardest I've ever trained. I peaked around the 10th or 11th week, and the only adversity I had was just staying at that intensity for the additional 5 weeks after I'd already peaked was almost unproductive. So it was just the length of it, just the duration. I had 18 weeks notice from the day I found out about the fight to the day we fought. And I chose to do a 16-week fight camp, which I'm happy I did in hindsight, but it was just long and disciplined. And I trained a third of a year for this fight.
Yeah.
I focused on it really hard mentally too. So I do think that that was the main adversity. I was banged up just from training, but no real injuries or nothing. It went pretty smooth. I feel like I've always tried to master the training camp, like consciously. I take a lot of notes during my training camps and reflect on them after the fights, and then adjust and see what I can do for the next camp. And I feel like this time I used my knowledge and experience to build a pretty solid camp, and I do think it was effective, and I am happy with how it went.
Incredible, man. Peaking at that time and then being able to stay at that level until the fight.
Yeah,
it's a task in itself.
It took a lot of mental intensity. But I do have a question for you. In regards to this, I feel like it was about a year ago that we talked last, and you were talking about doing a fight. I was wondering, did you fight?
No, I will be fighting most likely in February.
Awesome. Good. So still training for it.
Yeah, training. I was in Thailand the last 6 months. So I was working from Thailand training. And then now I'm back in Korea. I'm going to start. I started training with one of the teams out here. And then I'm going to go back to Thailand at the beginning of next year to take the fight. So I'll announce the fight
in Thailand.
Yeah, I'm going to fight in Thailand.
Awesome.
in Phuket. So
beautiful.
Yeah, it's happening, you know.
Good.
So it's I'm not even thinking I'm not trying to even think about it really, right? I just try to train.
How are you feeling about it? How do you feel about it?
I don't know, man. You see this violence every week, right? And you're like, could that happen to me? That's what you're thinking. That's what you're thinking. Absolutely, I don't want to become a meme, you know? Like, I don't want to, you know. That's why I respect a fighter so much, because that's the risk you take at that platform, the highest level. It's like you could become a meme and just be that for a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you think like the example I use right now is you look at Kamaru Usman is undeniably the pound for pound best in the world, and he he got knocked out like brutally in a fight that he won for 24 straight minutes. It's like that is the game we're playing. That's the game we're playing, but that's what makes the game so beautiful.
It does, man. The risk and reward, man. That's what guys do. What is the plan for the rest of the year? Actually, not for the rest of the year. For the next few weeks, man. What are you going to be doing?
I'm eating for the next few weeks. I do have a jiu-jitsu match. I have a pro jiu-jitsu match October 1st. So,
where's that at?
That's going to be in Kansas City. I got to be 170 pounds for that. So no big deal. So I'm just eating, healing, and running the gym, teaching my classes, coaching my guys. I have some guys with fights coming up. So definitely, just kind of unwinding from the camp, letting my body heal from the camp and from the fight.
Yeah, like you said in the post-fight, man, living the dream. You know, there's nothing really much better to do as a fighter is to have your gym, have your team, and then be able to eat.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't forget the eating part.
Is there a card, this year that you want to hop on? You know what I mean? There's a few out there.
Yeah, the only thing that would entice me to fight this year, because my wife is due in December, so with our first baby. So the only thing that would get me going is if somehow I got Paddy on the pay-per-view card November 12th. He talked about me a lot in his last fight week. I don't know, we'll see what happens, but that would get me off the couch and back in the camp. But other than that, I want to focus on welcoming the baby to our family and adjusting to that life, and then see what next year looks like.
Congratulations, man. Like,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's something that it's uncharted territory. People could tell you whatever they want, but until you go in there and experience it yourself, I guess it's a lot like fighting, right? People could tell you what could happen, and until you go in there and experience it yourself, you don't know what it is.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to the new adventure.
Nice, man. Nice, man. Appreciate you, man, taking the time. I know
my pleasure.
After a fight, you want to relax, you want to eat, you want to chill, and really enjoy. I'm really looking forward to seeing Daddy Trey in the UFC. That's the next version, right?
Thank you. Yeah, man.